news leader. This is News Channel 13, where the news comes first.
A Rocky Ford police officer is in court this afternoon facing murder charges. We'll have the latest from the witness stand.
It's a glowing review of Colorado. The governor is giving high marks in his annual State of the State address, and some shout-outs, too.
And the votes are in. We now know who will be going head-to-head for that little gold man named Oscar. The Academy Award nominations have been announced. Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining us for KRDO News Channel 13 at noon. I'm Brittany Bailey.
And I'm John Carroll. We begin with breaking news out of Belgium. Police are reporting 2 people may be dead after a raid on a suspected terrorist cell. A local website says the people were killed in the town of Verviers. Witnesses say they heard explosions and detonations near the train station. This comes a week after 20 people were killed in an attack against a French satirical publication. We're expected to learn more about this later this afternoon.
A school was evacuated and is now closed for the day after a carbon monoxide leak in Colorado Springs.
The leak happened at Pikes Peak Christian School. Students are now home, and crews are at the school repairing the problem. KRDO News Channel 13 Scott Harrison is live at the school. Scott, do officials know yet what caused the leak?
Yes, they do, John and Brittany. Actually, the weather caused this situation this morning. More on that in a minute from the school director, but this situation has been wrapped up since about 10:30 this morning. That's when all the students, about 256 students here and about 55 staff members, were sent home for the day. This is on the northeast side of town near the intersection of Union and Vickers. Let's take you to video of the scene earlier this morning at the school. Now, this all started at the beginning of the school day around 7:30 this morning. The staff says that they smelled a strong odor similar to carbon monoxide, they thought, that was coming from a wing that housed middle school and elementary school students. So they moved those students to another part of the building, called the fire department, Springs Fire Department, also Colorado Springs Utilities. They did tests in the building and found that the level of carbon monoxide was higher than it should have been. So that began the evacuations. And the school director tells us what caused all of this to happen.
It was a faulty furnace. The exhaust valve had fallen off due to the heavy snowfall, and the CO was being pulled into the building by the other furnace systems into the ventilation.
So the good news is they caught this right at the beginning before it could get any worse. They notified everyone, got everyone out of the school in plenty of time. We're told that no one was sick, no one needed to be treated here at the scene or needed to be taken to a hospital for treatment. So that also is good news here on the northeast side of town. School will resume again as normal tomorrow. Repairs on that system will be going on throughout the day. We're live in the Springs today. Scott Harrison, KRDO News Channel 13.
All right, thanks so much, Scott. The Rocky Ford police officer accused of shooting and killing a 27-year-old man is going before a judge today.
James Ashby was arrested for the death of Jack Hawkes, who was shot in his home in October. The hearing is still underway at the Otero County Courthouse. Here's what we know so far. The judge in the case has heard from County Coroner Robert Fowler. According to Fowler, the autopsy revealed a bullet entered through Hawkes' back and went through 3 of the 4 chambers of his heart. The bullet stopped behind the left breast.
The court also heard from Kyle Moore. He was doing a ride-along with Ashby at the time of the shooting. Moore says he was inside the car when it happened and didn't see anything. However, Moore says he heard Ashby yell, quote, "Let me see your hands," end quote, twice. He also heard him say, "Drop the bat," twice, followed by 2 gunshots. Ashby faces several charges, including second-degree murder.
A CBI agent was next to take the stand. We'll hear what he had to say coming up in a live report in about 30 minutes. Governor John Hickenlooper says the state of our state is strong.
He also praised the economy and the creation of a statewide water plan. Now, it all happened during the governor's State of the State address this morning. He also congratulated the Broncos on their season and Estes Park climber Tommy Caldwell for conquering El Capitan. We'll have more on the governor's speech starting tonight on KRDO News Channel 13 at 4.
After attending the governor's State of the State address, Colorado Springs Mayor Steve Bach will host his final community forum. That happens tonight at the Stetson Hills Police Station on Tutt Boulevard. It starts at 5:30 and is expected to wrap up around 7. Well, it was a beautiful sunrise in Colorado Springs this morning.
KRDO News Channel 13 photographer Pete Miller shot a time-lapse of that for us this morning. And beautiful, I hate to say it, but Broncos colors in the skies. We still celebrate them, of course. And the sun rising there. Oh, that's the Motor City Curve. It's, of course, nice to see the sun back after a couple of days of gloomy fog and snow, which I was lucky enough to miss out on when I was in Crested Butte. But what a beautiful shot this morning.
Off skiing like some kind of jet setter.
Oh, yes. I'm such a jet setter. I drove a few hours away. That's what's wonderful about our state, right? You can feel like a jet setter and just hop in your car and go a few hours, and there you are.
Well, while we were suffering down here, we're glad that all that snow made the
yes.
trip so awesome. Let's bring in Storm Tracker 13's Jason Laird. No snow in the forecast today.
No, looking absolutely gorgeous outside. And even if you're heading up skiing, it's still going to be a nice forecast. Might have some light powder over the weekend into the mountains, but staying dry down here. Another time lapse for you of Woodland Park this morning. Beautiful sunrise over top of the mountains there. Just a gorgeous day outside. Hardly a cloud in the sky. So here's what things are doing for us. All right, Mr. Sunshine's back. That's right. Area of high pressure is going to start building in over the next few days, or I should say currently building in. And that's really depicted when we look at those little white lines. What those are telling us is basically just areas of pressure. And you notice that big ridge that's starting to build over top of the state. That's that warm air that's going to be moving in and really going to help to clear out skies pretty much up through the weekend here. As you notice right now, there's no clouds to even speak of. Few light clouds over top of the mountains, but just gorgeous conditions out there. Check out those temperatures right now. 42 degrees into the Springs, 38 here into Pueblo, 48 into La Junta, 47 into Lamar. Only chilly spot really is Gunnison there at 19 degrees, but got to keep it a little cool when you're out skiing, of course. You get kind of worked up there. Keep it nice and cool for you. Looking at the 40s down in the Austin Bluffs region. Cimarron Hills about 42 degrees there. Further south as we take a look, Wetmore about 47. Canyon City right now 40 degrees there. Just some nice temperatures all across the board, and those are going to continue to climb with those clear skies today. And the mid-40s right along the southern border there, Raton Pass, looking at about 46 degrees. As for your weekend planner, here's how things are shaping up. Into the Springs, we're looking at about 52 degrees on Saturday. A little boost in temperatures there on Sunday. We'll see a slight dip in temperatures on Saturday. Nothing crazy like a degree or two from Friday is all, but still very comfortable. 57 into Pueblo, a little boost there into Sunday. Again, plenty of sunshine to go around. We'll see a few more clouds build in there Saturday night into Sunday, but overall, couldn't ask for a nicer forecast. We'll have your 7-day forecast coming up around the corner. John, Brittany, back to you guys.
All right. Thanks, Jason. The trial of Aurora Theater shooting suspect James Holmes will begin next week after the judge refused a request to delay the trial. The judge ruled his attorneys have had enough time now to review evidence in the case. Jury selection is expected to start next Tuesday. Holmes is pleading not guilty by reason of insanity to killing 12 people and injuring 70 in the attack at an Aurora movie theater in 2012.
A 20-year-old is accused of plotting to assault the U.S. Capitol and lawmakers with rifles and pipe bombs. Christopher Cornell was arrested yesterday in southern Ohio after buying 2 M15 assault rifles and 600 rounds of ammunition. Officials say several agents tackled him in a parking lot after he made his purchases. Now, he's been under constant FBI surveillance since last fall. Cornell's father says his son was lost and vulnerable and recently converted to Islam. He thinks his son was set up by federal officials.
No way he came up with those, with this stuff they're trying, with these terrorist plots. Somebody put that in his head.
The FBI says the public was never in any danger. Cornell has been charged with attempting to kill officers and employees of the U.S. In Belgium, one bookstore is being threatened if it sells the new issue of Charlie Hebdo. The magazine released its first issue after the terrorist attack in Paris. Police don't know where the threats are coming from, but they are concerned the booksellers are under surveillance. Well, in relation to that Paris terror attack, President Obama and British Prime Minister David Cameron are uniting as one. Their joint op-ed titled, quote, "We won't let the voice of freedom be muzzled," end quote, was published online this morning by the Times of London. The two leaders say safeguarding their way of life depends on economic strength and standing up to terrorism and international aggression. And on another issue, they will write they'll continue to stand up to Russia's aggressive actions in Ukraine.
A Colorado Springs City Council member facing a recall says she has no plans to resign. The city clerk confirms there are enough petition signatures to force a recall election against Councilwoman Helen Collins.
I will not resign. I have done nothing wrong. I believe I've represented my constituents to the best of my ability.
We talked to recall organizers last month who say Collins voted against a stormwater fee and doesn't communicate with her constituents. But Collins argues most of her district didn't want the stormwater fee, and she represented them. The recall question will be on the April ballot.
An El Paso County Commissioner is running for the United States Senate in 2016. Darrell Glenn announced his candidacy today. He has been elected twice to the Spring City Council and the El Paso County Board of Commissioners. Glenn also runs a small private legal practice. He was also previously an Air Force officer. Awards season has shifted into high gear. The Oscar nominations were announced this morning. We'll show you who's in the running for the Golden Statue.
How would you like to wake up to a hot cup of fresh coffee while freeing up counter space in your kitchen? It's on the way.
Passengers on an African safari boat got quite a shock. We'll show you what was lurking beneath the water.
And we couldn't ask for a nicer day outside, but how long is it going to last? We'll have all those answers just around the bend. Stick with us.
The Academy Award nominations were announced today.
The Oscars are coming up next month, and nominations for the best of the best were presented today. ABC's Ted Rowlands gives us a rundown of the frontrunners.
We are pleased to announce the films selected as the Best Picture nominees.
2 films tied for the most Oscar nominations with 9. Wes Anderson's The Grand Budapest Hotel and Birdman, starring Michael Keaton, who was also nominated for Best Actor.
Let's make a comeback.
Joining Keaton, Eddie Redmayne, Benedict Cumberbatch, Steve Carell, and Bradley Cooper, who earned a 3rd straight Oscar nomination for his role in American Sniper. For Best Actress, Felicity Jones, Rosamund Pike, Marion Cotillard, and Reese Witherspoon joined favorite Julianne Moore, who was nominated for her role as a doctor struggling with Alzheimer's in Still Alice.
On my good days, I can, almost pass for a normal person.
Robert Duvall is up for Best Supporting Actor for his role in The Judge. Joining Duvall, J.K. Simmons, Edward Norton, Ethan Hawke, and Mark Ruffalo.
Princes, yes, but wolves and humans too.
Meryl Streep picks up her 19th Oscar nomination for Into the Woods, joining Patricia Arquette, Emma Stone, Keira Knightley, and Laura Dern for Best Supporting Actress. 8 movies will battle for Best Picture this year: American Sniper, The Imitation Game, Birdman, Selma, Boyhood, The Theory of Everything, The Grand Budapest Hotel, and Whiplash. And the 87th Academy Awards will be presented on February 22nd right here on ABC. Ted Rowlands, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Well, now you can have your coffee and eat your food, too. GE and Keurig have teamed up to combine 2 appliances, a fridge and a single-cup coffee maker. The company showed off the new product yesterday. The water takes about 4 minutes to heat up, but there's a way to make life a little easier for those on the go.
So we're going to have an app available on your phone or your iPad or your mobile device that you can now program your refrigerator to be ready to go at 6 a.m.
Wow, what'll they think of next? The refrigerator will be available later this year. The suggested retail price, about $3,300.
A cup of joe may be the first thing people grab when they put in long work hours, but a new study shows overtime could result in dangerous alcohol consumption. Researchers have found that people who work more than 48 hours a week were more likely to have unhealthy drinking habits. They say women average 14 drinks a week while men drink 21. Researchers say working long hours has been associated with depression, anxiety, and sleep deprivation. Well, that brings us to our web question this afternoon. We want to know what your thoughts are on this study. You can leave your comments on our Facebook or Twitter pages at KRDO News Channel 13 or on our website at krdo.com. And we, of course, will air some of your thoughts a little later in our newscast.
Colorado Springs Utilities is expecting a lot of calls this month from customers frustrated over its heating bills. CSU says people will ask if they've changed rates. These calls usually come after a long cold snap. Officials say it's easy to curb your energy bills. You can track your daily consumption on the CSU website. Just click on the My Usage tool. You can also use budget billing to pay the same amount each month.
The good news is that, ultimately we as consumers and customers have the most influence over what that bill is ultimately going to be at the end of the month.
If you haven't done weather stripping already, that can also cut down on your monthly bill.
They used their bare hands to accomplish an amazing feat. We'll hear from the climbers, now being hailed as rock stars.
Hard to believe it's been 6 years since we sat spellbound watching the miracle on the Hudson.
And finally, enough sunshine to go around. Looks like it's going to stick around for the weekend. How long is that going to last? We'll have the answers coming up after the break. Welcome back. Well, we're expecting beautiful weather up through the weekend, but with nice weather, there's usually some sort of side effect. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's take you to the top of Pikes Peak right now, looking off at the Summit House. If you remember yesterday, there was so many clouds out there, you couldn't even tell that there was a town below, but absolutely gorgeous outside today. Plenty of sunshine and not a cloud in the sky, so just beautiful conditions out there as we take a live look at the HD Doppler radar right now. Notice no clouds, no precipitation. Beautiful day to get out and enjoy it, whether you're skiing, hiking. It's just going to be a nice weekend, so make sure you can swing outside and enjoy the nice weather. Right over the Four Corners region, notice that big clearing? That's where we've got an area of high pressure built in right now. That's going to continue to track across the state over the next few days, but again, here's kind of where that side effect comes into play. As that area of high pressure moves across, we're going to see some breezy breezy conditions, kind of downsloping off of the mountains. But the nice thing there, that's going to help those temperatures warm up even more than what they would normally. So again, do expect some kind of breezy conditions, especially as Friday rolls around. Bright and early Friday morning, we're looking at, again, clear skies, slightly breezy conditions. Those winds will kick up a little bit throughout Friday. Now, we do have another system cooking right behind this, but that area of high pressure is pretty strong, and it's going to hold off a lot of this. We might see a few flurries over the weekend into the mountains, which will be great for skiers. But again, we're not looking at much moisture moving into the region up until about Tuesday of next week or so. As for lows tonight, pretty much into the teens across the board, but starting to finally regain a little bit of strength out there. 22 into the Springs, 18 into Pueblo. A few below 0 digits, though, as we move into the mountains. 20 into Canyon City tonight. Tomorrow, oh, it's going to be a beautiful one. Friday looks to be the toastiest day of the next 7. 60 degrees into Pueblo, 62 down into Springfield. Looking at the high 50s pretty much all across the board. Even the mountains getting up into the mid-40s. Gorgeous, gorgeous conditions out there, and again, clear skies. Over the next 7, here's how things play out for us again. We're looking at sunny skies with those temperatures peaking up to about 56 degrees on Friday. They'll taper down slightly again. We'll get a little increased cloud cover there Saturday night as that front tries to make its way through the region. But again, as for moisture, we're not looking at anything until possibly Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. We have a little system cooking out to our north and west. As for Pueblo, same story. Few clouds building in Saturday night, but that's not really going to hold the temperatures down much. Only about a degree or 2 drop on Saturday, then warming right back up on Sunday. Into Canyon City, we'll hit 58 degrees on Friday, again with plenty of sun there. Few clouds on Saturday into Sunday, but they're not going to stick around too terribly long. So even next week, starting out beautiful. 55 on Monday, 45 into Tuesday. Likely going to see a few showers again on Wednesday there. Into Teller County, relatively the same story, starting out with the 40s, pretty much lasting up through Monday. And then a little dose of moisture tries to move into the area Tuesday, Wednesday. And of course, we'll have a better idea on just how bad that's going to be when we get a little bit closer. But right now, let's just concentrate on those temperatures. 60s in January. Who's going to argue with that?
I love your Mr. Sunshine, too.
I know, isn't that great?
What are those,
Ray-Bans? I think so,
Oakleys?
yeah, Ray-Bans.
He's very
Oakleys,
stylish.
Yeah. He tries.
He looks like our assignment editor, Bill.
Yeah.
He does.
Bill Nevin, he's not even paying attention right now.
Thanks, Jason.
Yep.
Well, they're being called rock stars after becoming the first people ever to free climb to the top of El Capitan's Dawn Wall in Yosemite National Park.
As Marcy Gonzalez shows us the challenges they faced and what they're saying today about their amazing feat.
This is the record-breaking moment 2 climbers spent 19 grueling days working towards. Tommy Caldwell and Kevin Jorgensen reaching the summit of Yosemite's El Capitan after their 3,000-foot free climb up the rock's nearly vertical Dawn Wall.
I tried to push all the negative thoughts of not being able to do it out and picture getting across that traverse, and that's eventually what happened.
The pair used only their hands and feet, clinging to razor-sharp edges, braving harsh conditions.
Getting pretty rowdy.
Including a windstorm.
Getting tossed around like a ragdoll.
With ropes as their only safeguard against falling. There were uncomfortable nights, sleeping in tents secured to the rock's edge, and some close calls.
Thoughts crossed my mind that I should just throw in the towel.
Kevin struggled to pass one of the climb's most challenging points.
My voice has gone from yelling for Kevin so much, so it was an incredible experience.
An incredible experience, ending with a champagne celebration at the top, a dream they envisioned 7 years ago, now a real-life, astounding accomplishment.
It's great that so many people are inspired by the project, and hopefully they can find the equivalent of their own Dawn Wall.
And so many people were inspired. Even President Obama tweeted, "So proud you remind us that anything is possible." Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, New York.
There has been a major shakeup at the agency charged with protecting the president. It comes in the wake of several high-profile security breaches. We'll have what's going down at the Secret Service.
Pope Francis is in the Philippines, and you could say he was just blown away by the huge turnout and to greet him.
And just a reminder about our web question this afternoon. A new study finds people who work more than 48 hours per week are 13% more likely to pick up dangerous drinking habits. What do you think about that study? Leave your comments on our Facebook or Twitter pages at KRDO News Channel 13 or on our website at krdo.com, and we'll share some of your thoughts a little later in our newscast.
Did you look at that script? Welcome back. The U.S. Defense Department has transferred 5 more detainees from Guantanamo Bay. 4 of the 5 were sent to Oman, while the 5th went to Estonia. There are now just 122 detainees left at Guantanamo. President Obama has pledged to close the detention center as soon as possible, but critics say Guantanamo is necessary to detain terror suspects. Starting tomorrow, it will be easier for Americans to travel to Cuba. The Obama administration announced a new set of travel and financial rules. People visiting family, American officials, and journalists won't need government permission to visit the island. And for the first time, Americans will be able to use credit and debit cards in Cuba. But there will still be a limit on taking goods in and out of Cuba. The White House also revealed plans to set up a U.S. embassy in Havana.
Pope Francis has arrived in the Philippines for a 5-day visit. Now, when he got off the plane in Manila, he was caught by surprise when his Zaketo blew off in the wind. But the Pope didn't seem too fazed by it. He continued down the steps and waved and offered hugs. People have been pouring into the capital from all over the country to greet the head of the Catholic Church. Souvenirs fill the streets, and signs and billboards are along public transport routes. The Philippines is home to some 80 million Catholics, about 80% of the entire population. During his trip, Pope Francis plans to visit the area that was damaged by Typhoon Haiyan a year ago.
Well, there was something lurking under the water near a boat in Africa.
And it gave the people in the boat quite a surprise when it leaped out of the water. ABC's Dan Harris has more on that close encounter, and it's one he knows all too well.
It looks like a peaceful day out on the water, but look at those ripples. The man driving the boat sees them, he speeds up, and then this. An enormous hippopotamus launches out of the water. Check it out again. It's a narrow escape for this safari guide in Zambia, who later posted on Facebook, "Nothing like getting too close for comfort." The man has a point. Hippos are the most dangerous mammals in Africa. At their largest, they can be 17 feet long and weigh nearly 10,000 pounds. And they can hold their breath underwater for 5 minutes. Not long ago in Uganda, I had a close encounter of my own.
Ooh, what's this right here? Some people right next to the boat. They can swim fast.
Yeah. Watch as he emerges from the water and wheels around to face us.
He doesn't look happy to see us.
Yeah. The hippo in this new video not looking happy either, and he was fast. Good thing the boat was faster. Dan Harris, ABC News, San Francisco.
Can't believe how big that
That's
hippo is.
just amazing. I can't even imagine what it would be like to see that. Just watching it over and over again.
I'm okay with just watching it on video. Yeah. Colorado can now boast a true bionic man. He's making history with a new set of artificial arms, but it's how he controls them that makes this story amazing.
The hearing's been going on for several hours. A judge is trying to decide. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mic check, 1, 2. Going on for several hours. The judge needs to determine if James Ashby will stand trial in the death of Banana.
In the night, if the cats don't.
From Southern Colorado's high-definition news leader, this is News Channel 13, where the news comes first.
Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. Welcome back to KRDO News Channel 13 at noon. I'm John Carroll.
And I'm Brittany Bailey. A judge is hearing evidence against a Rocky Ford police officer charged with second-degree murder.
James Ashby is accused in the on-duty shooting death of 27-year-old Jack Hawkes. KRDO News Channel 13's Zach Pagano is live at the Otero County Courthouse and joins us live now with an update on the preliminary hearing.
John,
good afternoon.
Good afternoon. This hearing's been going on for several hours. We are on a recess right now. The judge needs to determine whether or not Ashby will stand trial in the shooting death of Jack Hawkes. Now, this morning we've heard from a number of key players in this whole investigation, the first of which was the Otero County coroner. He's the one that went to the emergency room and was there when Hawkes was pronounced dead, or arrived shortly after he was pronounced dead. He described the bullet wound that entered the victim's back and eventually injured the heart. He said that the bullet traveled through 3 of the 4 chambers of the heart and determined that that is what killed the victim. We've also heard from a witness who was doing a police ride-along with Ashby at the time of the shooting. The two were in the patrol car and described seeing a man on a skateboard on Highway 50. That's when Ashby pulled the car over, tried to talk to this man who was not really responsive to them. He was walking with the skateboard. This witness says he stayed in the passenger seat of this car. He did not get out of the car, but he watched Ashby get out of the car and start following this man. They were walking toward a house. That's when the witness says there was a large tree and he lost sight of them. He stayed in the car. Again, he's just on a ride-along at this point. He begins to hear shouting. He says he heard Ashby shout twice, "Show me your hands." He heard that twice. There was a pause. He heard Ashby shout, "Drop the bats." That's when he said several seconds after that he heard 2 gunshots, and that's when Ashby got on the radio. He heard Ashby radio in from his walkie-talkie, and we're going to continue to hear from some of these key players here, and we will bring you more as it develops in the courtroom later today. Live in La Junta this afternoon, Zach Pagano, KRDO News Channel 13.
Zach, thank you very much. Well, Chaffee County Now that's Colorado. Look at that. Our Salida camera looking at Mount Chavano. It's beautiful snow-capped peaks. 39 degrees too. That's feeling pretty good on this Thursday afternoon.
Well, we want to send things over now to Storm Tracker 13's Jason Laird to continue the good news we're hearing about the weather this afternoon.
Yeah, I always like coming into work when I have good news to pitch to you. But yeah, it looked like a calendar out there in Salida, something you would see. All right, let's start things off with our sky scan right now and kind of show you, of course, sun is going to be moving into the region. Now, I put those little white lines on the map. I know they're a little confusing, but what they are is just basically, they call them millibars, and they're just areas of pressure, basically, and that kind of shows that that area of high pressure is going to be building into the state over the next day or so, and that's what's going to allow for sunny skies and just beautiful, beautiful conditions. Again, that guy's going to continue to track onto the state there, but do keep in mind there's always a little side effect when we get high pressure building into the region, and that's winds. We're going to see kind of breezy conditions start to kick up tomorrow. Not real windy, just breezy more than anything. As you check out right now, hardly a cloud in the sky throughout eastern Colorado. A few clouds into the mountains, but just gorgeous conditions out there. As for temperatures right now, 15 degrees warmer here into the Springs than what we were 24 hours ago. Pueblo a little bit cooler there, only about 5 degrees, but for the most part, pretty much the double digits as for how much warmer we are today than we were, again, 24 hours ago. So some nice conditions out there. Here's how those temperatures are shaping up into the 40s already in most locations. Here in the Springs, we're looking at 42 degrees. Canyon City, toasty, 47. Springfield, about 48, and 48 and 47 there into La Junta and Lamar. As for your weekend, here's how things are shaping up. Looking at the 50s, both Saturday and Sunday, and plenty of that sunshine. Few clouds Saturday night, and we'll tell you why coming up in Maine weather. John, Brittany, back to you guys.
All right, thanks so much, Jason. It is time now to check in with our news partners at KRDO News Radio.
Mike Lewis joins us from KRDO's Morning News with the DA's Most Wanted on this Thursday. Hi, Mike.
Hey, John and Brittany, good afternoon. We've got Deputy District Attorney Brian Kaplan with us. Welcome back to KRDO, Brian.
Thanks so much, Mike. Thanks for having us.
Good to see you. Of course, we always have someone we're looking for each week. And tell us today who we are looking for, please.
We are. Thanks. Today we are looking for Ryan Williams Abels. He's 31 years old, birthday of 2/15/83. He's wanted for a felony warrant, second-degree burglary, and F3, which is a burglary of a home dwelling. The arrest charges are in 15 CR 89. He's 5'7", 122 pounds, brown hair, hazel eyes. As we always say, that people are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. If you have any information, please contact 911 if it's an emergency situation, or you can always contact CSPD 444-7000.
And as we like to always say, for the benefit of those people who are listening to us on the radio right now, KRDO News Radio 105.5 FM and 1240 AM, we have the photo up, but you can't see it on the radio, but you can always go to our web channel, krdo.com. Look for Most Wanted, and as soon as he has been located, we will put captured across his photo, and we do appreciate the opportunity to let the community know about who the law enforcement is looking for.
And we appreciate the opportunity as always. It's always been very successful, and we thank you guys.
All right, Brian, good to see you. We'll have another DA's Most Wanted 1 week from today. John and Brittany, back to you.
Thanks, Mike. A man accused of trying to commit suicide by sparking a natural gas explosion at his Canyon City home is close to reaching a plea deal. The Canyon City Daily Record reports Matthew Christensen's attorney made the announcement in district court yesterday. Investigators say the September explosion, which was caused by a natural gas detonation, threw Christensen into the backyard. The house was destroyed, but the man escaped with non-life-threatening burns. Christensen is facing charges of fourth-degree arson and felony criminal mischief. The Colorado Springs Police Department honored our community's heroes. Only on KRDO, they are Colorado strong. At its annual awards ceremony last night, the department recognized several officers for going above and beyond. Brave citizens also received awards. That included Frankie Meyer. He's credited with helping put Maceo January behind bars. Meyer, who's hearing impaired, lived near the Dunlaps and saw January leave their home the day the couple was murdered. He was able to positively identify January to police. The youngest hero was a 7-year-old who got help from neighbors when her mom had a medical emergency. A service dog died in a Colorado Springs house fire. The fire happened in the 800 block of East Yampa Street, just east of downtown. Firefighters pulled a woman and her dog out of the fire, but the dog didn't survive. The woman was treated for smoke inhalation. The cause of that fire is still under investigation.
A pregnant woman found dead inside an apartment in Pueblo was stabbed in the chest. That's according to the autopsy for Fenia Martinez. She was found dead in her apartment on Monday. Police are now searching for her boyfriend, 56-year-old Joseph Romero. He is wanted on a second-degree murder charge. If you have any information, you're asked to call Pueblo Crime Stoppers at 542-STOP. There was a shakeup in the Secret Service. 4 top officials have been forced out and 2 more are retiring.
It's the latest fallout after a series of high-profile missteps, including the major security breach at the White House. ABC's Jim Avila has the story.
The final straw for the Secret Service, that knife-wielding veteran who jumped the fence and ran right into the White House, making it inside the East Room minutes after President Obama had left by helicopter. This following a stinging list of gaffes that includes those gatecrashers who made it inside a state dinner without invites, the agents caught in a payment dispute with prostitutes on a presidential visit to Colombia, the armed private security guard who was somehow able to get on board an elevator with President Obama, and those bullets that hit the White House without the Secret Service knowing about them for days. Still, the president stood by the Secret Service.
The Secret Service does a great job. I'm grateful for the sacrifices they make on my behalf.
But a brutal report by the Department of Homeland Security found the Secret Service an organization starved for leadership. The first step, Secret Service Director Julia Pearson was forced out in October. And this morning, 4 more at the top removed from their positions, 2 more retiring. The acting director promising to do better.
We are confident we can fulfill our mission with honor and restore the Secret Service's rightful place as the most respected protection service in the world.
No comment from the White House. President Obama, as we heard, has never personally criticized the men and women sworn to take a bullet for him. Jim Avila, ABC News, Washington.
It was a miracle on the Hudson 6 years ago today. In 2009, U.S. Airways Flight 1549 left LaGuardia Airport and ran into a flock of geese, damaging both engines. Air Force Academy graduate Captain Chesley Sully Sullenberger was forced to make an emergency water landing on the Hudson River. Within 4 minutes of landing, emergency responders arrived and rescued the 155 people on board. There were only a few minor injuries.
Next week, Pueblo Police will begin wearing body cameras. Chief Lou Velez answered questions last night during a public forum about how the cameras will work. He says the department will keep the video for at least 90 days. Officers who repeatedly fail to turn on their body cameras could be fired. We spoke with people who have mixed feelings about the cameras. Every month, supervisors will be required to audit video of their officers.
Bill Cosby is taking the stage in Pueblo tomorrow. Now, there are still about 200 tickets left for Cosby's show at Memorial Hall. His stop in Colorado is making national news because more than a dozen women have accused Cosby of sexually assaulting him. Pueblo police tell us we should expect to see more officers around Memorial Hall tomorrow night.
We will have extra officers outside Memorial Hall, and we will have certain assets inside Memorial Hall as well. You know, the goal is to have the show in a peaceful setting, and yet if there are protesters, give them the medium to exercise their First Amendment right.
Even though there have been some requests for refunds for Cosby's performance, the promoter of the show is not offering refunds. Well, we all make typos from time to time.
But when your work is on public display, that can be a problem. We'll tell you about the bug in the rug coming up.
And it's not too late to weigh in on today's web question. We're talking about a new study that finds that people who work more than 48 hours per week are 13% more likely to pick up dangerous drinking habits. So what do you think about this study? Leave your comment on Facebook or Twitter at KRDO News Channel 13 or on our website at krdo.com, and we'll air some of your thoughts coming up in just a few minutes.
Welcome back. Well, it's no secret, beautiful day all across southern Colorado. Let's take you over to our Schrammick landscaping materials camera. 45 degrees in Fountain right now. A little breezy, and those winds are going to kind of stick around for the next day or so as that high pressure continues to build over the region. But the good news is that high pressure is going to keep those skies nice and clear for us, and those winds will actually kind of help to warm things up a little bit more. As for our live HD Doppler, not a whole lot to talk about today, which is great. That famous Colorado sunshine is back, looking at clear skies throughout eastern Colorado. Few clouds over the mountains, but very light and very sporadic. It's going to stay clear for us for quite some time. Now, the nice clearing we're seeing is basically planted right over this Four Corners region. What am I talking about? Well, that's that area of that high pressure that we've been talking about. That is going to continue to move into the state over the next day or so. We're already starting to see the effects of it. And again, we'll start to see a little breezy kind of conditions kick up across the mountains, especially tomorrow. But the winds aren't going to be anything too strong. They're, again, just going to be breezy. Those infamous downsloping winds is what we call those again. But those kind of help to warm up those temperatures a little bit, believe it or not. As for Friday morning, bright and early, again, starting the day out with clear skies. That area of high pressure will be right over top of the state. Now, we do have a little disturbance that's going to drop in. That's not really going to do much in the way of moisture. It's going to be more of a cloud maker once Saturday evening rolls around. We'll see some light flurries into the mountains, just enough to give you some fresh powder for skiers. But again, we're going to stay dry throughout eastern Colorado. Again, the only effect out of this guy is just going to be a few clouds Saturday night, which will only drop the temperatures about a degree or two. So we're not looking bad at all. As for lows tonight, into the teens, pretty much all across the board. Into the Front Range, we're looking at the 20s, 22 into the Springs tonight, 18 into Pueblo, 20 into Canyon City there. A few single digits below zero there into the mountains. And again, looking about 24 degrees into Denver. So some nice temperatures for January. Got to remember, it is January, and you look at these temperatures, 60 degrees into Pueblo tomorrow, 56 into the Springs, looking at 58 here into Canyon City, and high 50s into eastern Colorado. Springfield, 62 degrees tomorrow. That's right, going to be a gorgeous one. As for the next 7, here's how things play out for us. Again, Friday right now looks to be the warmest day out of the next 7. We'll see a little drop in temperatures there Saturday afternoon. Again, as that cold front tries to move through, it's just going to kind of create some clouds. We're not expecting much way in the moisture, but again, we're going to see a few clouds build into Tuesday and Wednesday. That gives us another shot of potential flurries moving throughout the area. Into Pueblo, topping out at 60 degrees tomorrow. Then we're looking at the high 50s for Saturday and Sunday. Again, a few clouds there Saturday night. Overnight lows not bad either, pretty consistent into the 20s. Into Canyon City, we're looking at the mid-50s all week long there up through next week. And again, a little shot of moisture tries to enter into the region there on Wednesday. We'll continue to track and monitor that. As for Teller County, we're looking at 49 degrees on Friday. Again, few clouds there Saturday, Sunday, but still only a slight drop in temperature. So good news with those clouds, though, is folks heading up skiing. Even though we're having such nice warm weather, any melting that does take place will have that nice little dose of powder on top of the snow, so it'll be nice.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jason.
Yeah.
A Colorado man is making history with his mind and his limbs.
He's the first person ever to control 2 artificial limbs at the same time just by thinking it. As Kathy Walsh reports, he'll now finally be able to do the simple things many of us take for granted.
When Les Baugh gets behind the wheel, his feet do the driving. Les has gotten around this way for 40 years, ever since he lost both arms at 17.
It was a foot race over a pile of gravel. And I just happened to win the foot race and run right into a set of power lines.
Les tried prosthetics, but he says they were crude and painful. Now, the limbs he's been waiting for. Zach Harvey with Bulow Prosthetics came up with a state-of-the-art design. Les is the perfect recipient.
Do some elbow up.
That's because 3 years ago, Les was in a study at Johns Hopkins. He had surgery, reassigning the nerves that once controlled his arms and hands to now control artificial limbs. He made history there, operating both arms by simply thinking. Now, Zach has made Les his own set of arms. 8 sensors on each side align with the muscles in Les's chest. Les thinks about a movement, and pattern recognition software sends it to the arms.
Wrist in, wrist out.
Close. Les is excited to finally do simple things, like pushing a grocery cart.
And then the beauty of it's going to be, I'm going to be able to take something off the shelf and put it in the cart.
The arms are bionic, but Les says he's not the $6 million man, but he hopes to be a man with more freedom.
Wow.
And we were sitting here oohing and eyeing over this. Amazing.
Les says he intends to keep driving with his feet.
He says he just doesn't trust the arms for that. He gets along just fine. 40 years, he said, driving with that way.
Yeah, but now all the other things he can do, it's amazing.
Unbelievable. Well, these days, we've all probably at least heard of a GoPro camera, maybe seen footage from it, even recorded it ourselves, but now it may be getting some competition.
Apple may be getting into the wearable camera game, going head-to-head with GoPro. A newly reassigned patent shows off features of a possible Apple Action camera with a wireless remote control that looks very much like the Apple Watch. Apple takes out all kinds of patents for things that never end up on a store shelf, but even the possibility of competition sent GoPro stocks tumbling by 12%. 3 gamers in Florida are passing a big milestone tomorrow.
They'll have played video games for 12,000 hours straight. Streamer House was launched a year and a half ago. 3 gamers live there and play nonstop for the world to see. The gamers take turns with 8-hour shifts to cover the full day. Viewers can log online at any time of the day to see one of the guys sitting on the couch playing a game.
It isn't just a hobby for them, it's how they earn their living.
We get compensation for that work. I mean, it's a job just like anything else.
Well, the gamers make money through advertisers on their website and subscriber fees. Tomorrow marks their 500th day of streaming, and they plan to give away money and gaming consoles to their viewers. And now their parents can no longer say, get off the couch, quit playing those video games and get a job.
Get a job.
Wow. Let's take a look at what you thought of our web question. Here's another look. What do you think about a study showing that people that work more than 48 hours a week tend to drink more alcohol?
I think 13% increase, something
Yes.
like that. And we asked people what they thought of the study. Melissa says studies will do or say anything to help those that refuse to have personal accountability for their actions.
Pat says, sounds about right. I remember one time at Old Chicago's downtown, we noticed the plaques on the wall for those who had completed their beer tour. One guy had completed it several times in a short amount of time. With the cost of drinks, the conclusion was it had to be some executive to even afford it.
Well, we appreciate your thoughts on this. And remember, you can always keep your comments coming at KRDO.com or on Facebook or Twitter at KRDO News Channel 13. Welcome back, everyone. It's a big day in Hollywood. The Oscar nominations were announced, and there were plenty of surprises and some snubs. Tonight at 4, we'll get some insight from a Hollywood insider, and we'll run down some of those Academy Award nominees. That's tonight on KRDO News Channel 13 at 4. The new decor at one Florida sheriff's office is going to the dogs. Well, one dog, it seems.
Instead of the phrase, "In God we trust," the new rugs say, "In dog we trust," well, in one of the crests. So those rugs are now being removed from the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office. A deputy working security at the building noticed the error. An office spokesperson says the rug maker made the mistake, and the rugs will be replaced with corrected versions.
A piece of the past sat untouched in Nevada for years. Great Basin National Park workers found a 132-year-old Winchester rifle. It was propped up against a tree in the desert. Now, despite all the rust and erosion, you can still see the gun's serial number and model name. The Cody West Firearms Museum determined the gun was made in 1882. The rifle will now become part of a display commemorating the park's 30th anniversary next year. A pretty cool find for sure.
You can barely see it there. I wonder how many people walked by it before it was finally noticed. Oh, if that gun could tell stories.
Oh, what a cool story.
Wild, wild west.
Neat find there. One more check of that forecast right now. Lows tonight, well, not bad compared to what we've had. And got to remember, it's still January. 22 into the Springs tonight, 18 into Pueblo, a few teens out to our east. A little chilly there into Lyman, about 14 degrees tonight, 18 into Burlington, and a few low zero marks there into the mountains, but not a bad one. As for tomorrow, check that out. A few 60s across the board. 60 into Pueblo, 56 into the Springs, 62 into Springfield. It's going to be an absolutely gorgeous one over the next 7 days. Looking at 56 degrees for your Friday. Little dip in the temperatures, though, Saturday night. Of course, we're going to have a little weak cold front try to stroll through the area. It'll bring a few flurries into the mountains, but really, for the most part, we're going to stay dry into southeastern Colorado. Into Pueblo, same story there, about 57, then back up to 58 on Sunday. Next chance of moisture doesn't really roll around till Wednesday. We'll see a few flurries move through, but up until then, pretty consistent into the 50s. Looking pretty nice there into Teller County, 49 on Friday. Again, a few clouds building in there Saturday night, and then we're going to see that sunshine return most of Sunday. And the temperatures, again, staying pretty consistent up through Monday, but Tuesday, that's when they take a little dip, of course, when that next system moves in.
Oh, but what a weekend ahead.
Oh, yeah, gorgeous.
Looking forward to it. Have a great afternoon, everyone. We'll be back at 4.